All right, let's dive right into this explainer because we really need to completely shift how we think about enterprise security. If you're still relying on that standard playbook of, adding more firewalls and buying endless software tools, it's time to hit pause. Today, we're exploring why the organizations achieving true cyber resilience aren't just outspending the hackers, they're fundamentally redesigning how they operate.
So ask yourself, where does your enterprise actually end? We have to start by confronting a pretty harsh reality here. That traditional, safe perimeter you built around your business, yeah, it's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. We used to treat enterprise security like a castle with a moat, right? You had a central data center, clear boundaries, and you managed trust based on who was safely inside those walls. But look at how we operate today. Your operations are scattered everywhere. Users are connecting from coffee shops, applications live in the cloud, and data is just constantly in motion. Your enterprise definitely doesn't end at your office door anymore.
And retrofitting security onto old software is just a massive, dangerous compromise. One of our sources actually puts this brilliantly. They say it's literally like trying to put modern brakes on a vintage flying Ford Anglia. I mean, think about it. Legacy applications were simply never designed with modern concepts like zero trust in mind. Their base components carry unresolved vulnerabilities. Sure, you can hide them behind extra security layers for a little while, but eventually, those systems become your weak link. You simply cannot bolt high-performance brakes onto an antique flying car and expect it to handle like a modern vehicle.
So the perimeter is dead. We are officially moving way past the era of those centralized data center firewalls. Attempting to enforce a rigid perimeter in today's highly distributed enterprise leads to two very predictable and honestly very bad outcomes. Either your security becomes so restrictive that it completely frustrates your staff and brings operations to a halt, or it becomes so fragmented that it entirely loses its effectiveness. There is a really stark contrast between that outdated tool-heavy model and the new capability-driven reality. In the past, the reflex to a new threat was just buying a new vendor tool, just a point solution for absolutely every problem. But modern edge security is less about hoarding technology and a lot more about building innate capability right where the data actually lives. It's about how you integrate control into the very fabric of your day-to-day operations.
Because as your operations decentralize, the true risk just doesn't sit in some fortified central core anymore. It moves out to the absolute edges. Security incidents now emerge from compromised mobile devices, misconfigured cloud apps, or some remote user on an unsecured network. They emerge from the very margins of your operational footprint. These distributed points are where the real work actually gets done. We're talking about remote retail branches with patchy connectivity, or operational technology, like industrial sensors in mining and agriculture that frankly were never even meant to be online in the first place. Add in AI-enabled smart cameras and the inevitable shadow IT, where employees just sign up for SaaS products on their phones to work faster and completely bypass IT. These constrained, highly dynamic environments are for sure your most exposed attack surfaces.
And man, the economics of this are just brutal. Listen to this. Improving your security posture from 90 to 95%, it costs double what it took to get to 90 in the first place. Every single time you try to half your remaining security gap, you basically have to double your budget. It's an incredible asymmetry. Defenders have to secure every single door and window, while an attacker only needs to find one unlocked window at some remote branch. As one of our experts noted, it often becomes this crazy game of one-upmanship. You just need to have a slightly better posture than the company next to you.
So the absolutely crucial takeaway here is that modernization is no longer just some IT efficiency play. It is a strict mandate to defend your business. We used to say, digitize to grow, right? Well, now it's digitize to defend. Manual processes and fragmented legacy architectures don't just slow you down, they create massive blind spots. When you modernize and actually integrate your systems, you aren't just making them faster, you are creating environments that are observable, controllable, and fundamentally defensible.
But of course, modernization brings its own massive edge risks, especially when we start talking about artificial intelligence. You just can't deploy volatile, high-performance engines like AI at the edge without verifying your fundamental security first. Edge devices often run outdated firmware with default passwords. If you layer an AI engine with minimal guardrails on top of a vulnerable smart camera or an IoT sensor, you are compounding your risk exponentially. You have to treat these advanced frontier AI models like Formula One cars. They are incredible machines, absolutely, but you need a controlled, highly managed track to run them on. You do not just put them out on public roads. And fighting this technical debt while operations are live, it's an agonizing balancing act. Another source likens it to changing the tires on a 747 mid-flight. Introduce overly restrictive security controls and you completely ground the business.
but leave those worn, legacy systems in place, and you practically guarantee a crash landing. It's an incredibly delicate situation for any technology leader to navigate. Okay, so how do we actually build a defensible posture without crashing the plane? Well, this is where zero trust comes into practice. Now, not as some vendor product you can just buy off a shelf, but as a continuous discipline. Zero trust is probably the most misunderstood concept in the industry right now. Let's break down what actually works in the real world. In practice, this model fundamentally starts with identity as the ultimate control plane, because you simply cannot secure what you can't identify. So step 1 is establishing strong identity and multi-factor authentication. Step 2, manage your critical data. Don't try to secure absolutely everything equally. Prioritize. Step 3 is progressive segmentation. Start by logically isolating your high-risk systems without over-engineering the whole thing right out of the gate. And finally, continuous monitoring. Because at the end of the day, resilience is proven by how fast you detect and respond to anomalies, not just by preventing them.
But implementing all these steps reveals our final and honestly most critical challenge. Edge security is constrained by human capability, not technology. You can buy the absolute best software in the world, but at the edge, decisions must balance risk, performance, and operational continuity in real time. Traditional siloed IT roles simply break down in this kind of high-stakes environment. Navigating these edge environments requires entirely new hybrid skill sets. We just don't need narrow specialists anymore. We need multidisciplinary operators. We need professionals who deeply understand security and complex routing to manage these distributed networks. We need experts in security and operational technology, so they don't accidentally shut down an entire factory while just trying to patch a legacy sensor. And critically, we need leaders who grasp both security and real-time AI governance.
And in certain regions, like the African market, for example, the talent gap for these multidisciplinary operators is massive. It's deeply structural. There is incredibly high competition across all industries for a very limited pool of experienced edge security practitioners. Organizations are constantly battling skills migration, retention issues, and these agonizingly slow traditional hiring cycles. And that often leaves them fragile and way over-reliant on outside consultants.
So how are savvy organizations solving this? They're abandoning those slow CV filtering processes. Instead, they're leveraging trusted, peer-led networks to find people who can actually deliver under pressure. Because reading a resume full of buzzwords doesn't tell you how someone's going to react during a live ransomware attack on a remote production facility, right? But a peer referral from a trusted leadership network absolutely does. Shared intelligence and community connections are quickly becoming the most strategic levers a company has to find hybrid talent that has already proven they can operate in these complex spaces.
Which brings us to the ultimate takeaway from all of our sources today. Security is no longer a control function. It is a design and leadership discipline. True resilience requires embedding security directly into your operating model. It's a fundamental mindset shift. Security cannot be an afterthought that the IT department just layers on once a project is finished. It has to be designed into the architecture from the very first blueprint, led by leaders who understand that protecting the business and operating the business are now the exact same job.
So, I want to leave you with this provocative thought to evaluate your own edge operations. Do you have the right capability at the exact points where decisions are made? It's not about the strength of your centralized firewalls anymore. It's about whether the right person, armed with the right context and the right tools, is sitting at the very edge of your network when a threat appears. Thank you for joining this explainer. Keep questioning your perimeter, and I'll see you next time.